In this chapter, continuing from the anonymous route, we'll look at provider access in named route. After creating the Provider Overview 13 app, we'll start by copying the contents of the Provider Overview 12 app we just created, which is the anonymous route. Counter change notifier does not need to be modified. Go to main.dart, delete the home and create routes map, and in root route return the My Homepage widget, and from counter route return the Show Me Counter widget. Since we created a named route, change push to push named and replace material page route with counter route. There's nothing to modify for the increment counter button, and the Show Me Counter doesn't need to be modified either. If we run it now, we will get an error because counter is not injected into the widget tree through the provider. But let's run it to see the widget tree structure. As we did with anonymous route, do Command-Shift-P, select Dart Open DevTools, and run the Open Widget Inspector page to see the current widget tree. As we already saw on the anonymous route, Show Me Count is not a child of My Homepage. However, in this case, unlike the case of anonymous route access, counter instance must be passed to both My Homepage and Show Me Counter. So declare the underscore counter variable of counter type and save the counter instance. But there is a red squiggle line under const. I read the reason and it says can't define the const constructor because the field underscore count is initialized with a non-constant value. So I will delete the const in front of my app and also delete the const in main. Note that this error message is displayed by the VS Code extension called ErrorLens. Wrap My Homepage widget with the change notifier provider.value named constructor and assign the underscore counter value as the value argument's value. For the Show Me Counter widget, do exactly the same thing we did for the My Homepage widget. Let's run it after a hard restart. The app is now working normally. However, there is one important drawback. When you create a change notifier class using change notifier provider, it automatically closes when you no longer need it. However, since the counter change notifier was created without going through the change notifier provider this time, you also need to close it separately. To do that, we'll modify my app to a stateful widget and dispose it by calling the dispose method of the underscore counter change notifier in the dispose method of stateful widget. Let's run the app after the hard restart. The app still works normally. Next, we will cover the generate route access.